Hi, I'm Leah Hasledge. I'm here with bridal and crafting legend Patrice Catan for another how-to on wedding bouquets. Patrice, before we get started with the step-by-step guide, where should we be finding our silk flowers and supplies?
Well, basically online and area stores in your area that carry craft items.
Something you're going to mention in this video is movable handles and how you can't find them anymore. Why can't we find movable handles in floral?
They ran out of plastic, and unfortunately, I don't know why. Movable handles are more realistic. We have very hard handles, so basically that makes designing a little bit harder because we kind of have to hide that portion of it.
So note to suppliers, bring back the movable handles for bouquets because
yes,
it's so much easier to
please
use.
bring them back. find your plastic and move on.
Here is our step-by-step guide on how to make these beautiful rosebud wedding bouquets.
Now, if you take a look at everything I have in front of me, everything's a different style. I like this one because it tips forward. See what it does? I might not have enough flowers for that. Oh, heck, we'll try it anyway. Okay, they used to make these stems movable. They don't make them anymore. If you find them, somebody call me because they're a valuable item. We worked with those up to about 10-15 years ago, and all of a sudden they disappeared out of the market. Most of this merchandise I'm showing you, you can find at a hobby store or online. There is some places that are better than others, but what you've got to do is feel your way through to what you like and what you don't like. Okay, so now we have this piece. And now we're going to go with more of a color, okay? And this is tipping forward. Now, again, we're going to go back to give this a little bit of an angle. So I've got the back of this, and I'm putting it in at an angle, okay? And I'm going to add a little bit of glue right away because I want it to stick. Also, even on this piece, when I'm done, I just shoot the glue gun all the way through and make sure it's solid. So when you turn it upside down, nothing falls out. You don't want that to happen. So in other words, I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you, we're going to do a diagonal. And this is how you start out. To the back, at an angle, we are designing what we're going to do. We're going to take this piece. We talk about balance in designing. Balance is extremely important. You look at the height of this. We want to be in proportion to the nosegay. You always go 1.5 times the height to create balance. And the bottom piece, that's the extension of the diagonal, is half the height of the top piece. Now, you got to remember that even when you're using arrangements, which we will get to down the line. Say, for instance, let's take this vase. Okay, this is a good example, this vase. First of all, I'm deviating a little bit, but again, we're going back to basics. I see so many women in the hobby stores, and what they're doing is they're trying to force flowers into here. No. No. You cut this piece to fit the top of the container. You work from the top, not from the inside of the container. Now, a piece like this that's round, they even have Sahara round. And you would glue it, and then you would use your greening tape, and that would be the start of your centerpiece. Now, you see how high this is? You go up like this, okay? And then you go up another half. That means your first stem starts here because we have to balance this container. The other half that'll be diagonal out of here will be half the height of this. Balance is very important. You can be off balance really quick. But you can't take a piece like this and think you're going to work from the inside. It's not going to happen. So it's the same with a piece like this. Again, 1.5 times the height. A little bit coming out here, we've created balance. Okay, that's just an FYI when we get into other stuff down the road. Again, there is a monumental amount of education in designing. Everybody can be a designer. All you have to do is learn the basics and practice. And the more you practice, the better it becomes. The problem is you have to balance. You have to take, for an instance, okay, we've created this. What I did here, I did here. Okay? And that's done on purpose. And this piece is shorter. Nothing is ever the same height. Everything is a different height. Now, I know I'm giving you a lot of information, but as we travel on in this adventure, there's going to be a lot of repetition depending on what you're making. And then it has different rules and regulations. That would be spring merchandise, Christmas merchandise, fall merchandise, wreaths, table centerpieces. Over here, I have done up a table centerpiece for a wedding. I have showed you where I blended this rose bouquet and used the same roses in this centerpiece. That would go in the center of the head table. Again, the size of it depends how long the table is. Sometimes we do them longer because there's more bridesmaids. Then we usually use 2 or 3 and piece them. Okay, so now we've set the style. We've set this. This is how it's going to look. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a flower and we're going to stick it right there. Why? That's our starting point. And now we're going to go here. And now we're going to go here. What I do one way, I do the other. You see what I'm doing? And I'm trying to do this step by step. But sometimes it's very, whoops, sorry. I'm going to move this guy over here because he's got a flower on the end. He'll work on the end better. We're going to go like this, and then we're going to move in, and we're going to fill in this space. What am I going to do? Again, I'm turning it. Why am I turning? I'm turning because I want to fill it in properly. And if in order to fill it in properly, I really need to turn it so I see where I left off and make sure I don't have the same colors put together, which I usually do anyway, because that's just a mistake on my part. So what we're going to do, and what I am doing, is I'm just filling in. That's all I'm doing. And we have a simple little bouquet. And again, hit the back, go like this. That's all you do. Okay. We're going to go around. We're going to go to the back. And if you notice, I went back there. I want to give it depth. And then we will start filling in our greenery. Whoops, too long. Screwed up. But that's how it's going to look when it's done. See the difference? Nothing to it, but everything, guys, everything at an angle. Why? It fills in better. Now, we probably need a little bit more filler, but I counted wrong, but that's nothing new. So at least you have an idea of what I'm talking about. but this is how it looks. The back again has its greenery. It's wrapped with the ribbon, whatever you want, and a bow. This is what we've shown. This is what I've designed to show you what we're able to do and what you're able to do. I thank you for your time, and you will be seeing a lot more at patricecatan.com. Thank you.